afternoon, one and all. Good afternoon, good night, good evening, perhaps even good morning to some people, depending on which part of the globe you're watching from. Welcome to this special edition of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. As indicated in the notification, I'm going to address this afternoon the court ruling. This afternoon, Justice Gino Prasad and the Dongin ruling is ruling in the challenge to the suspension of the Police Service Commission. People have been asking questions. So I decided even before, one way or the other, that I'm going to have this live this afternoon. I was always confident that if the Constitution was interpreted correctly, that I would have been victorious, I and the other members of the commission. I see I have someone all the way from Afghanistan, and he's saying that it's night in Afghanistan. So welcome, my brother. Welcome one and all. I see many of the regulars are here, but we have so much to talk about this afternoon that I don't think I have the liberty of doing roll call and all of that. I'll have to go straight into telling you lots and lots to tell you. One of the things I must mention is that there was so much to say. I had so much to say, but because the matter was still pending before the court, they have this subjudicial rule. So matters are pending before the court. You're not supposed to be commenting on the merits of the case. And there are lots of issues relating to what transpired. I'm going to tell you about some of the lies that people told in affidavit. People swore to affidavits and told a pack of lies. I'm going to read them to you this afternoon, and you make your own judgment about the credibility of those posts. I'm going to call the names, and I'm going to read the document because I have it here, right? And therefore, I thought it was very important for me to come and to bring the news to you. So thanks for all those who have been calling and posting, and even now on the live, people like saying congratulations and so on. Well, even though it's falls slow on the Police Service Commission, that one, I think justice and the rule of law prevailed today. So justice and the rule of law prevailed when the judge ruled that the suspension of the Police Service Commission by the President on the 16th of June 2021 was unconstitutional and ultra-virus the commission. I always felt so. My lawyers, I want to take this opportunity to thank and to congratulate our excellent team of lawyers led by Mr. Selwyn Peters, who I expect to join me sometime during the course of this live. And we had from Guyana, Selwyn operates out of Canada, and we had from Guyana Mr. Dexter Todd and Mr. Dexter Smart. Thank you guys very, very much for all the hard work that you did to present the case, which some people say was a very straightforward case. But at the end of the day, we still have to put it in writing and present it to the court, because as I have said on previous programs, how the courts operate is not what you believe and what you know, is you have to present the evidence. You have to present the evidence. But having read Article 225 of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, which deals with suspension of commissions, constitutional bodies, it was clear as crystal. It was clear that the president did not follow the stipulated procedure, and therefore it was ultra-virus. We knew that all along. And let me say this, and I'm going to give you the whole rundown. The judge did so today. The fact that when this matter was filed, the Attorney General and the government did everything they can not to have the merits of this case heard. They did everything. They did everything. The first argument they made is that the president, who was named as the third respondent, could not have been named because he enjoys constitutional immunity. And the judge agreed with them. The judge ruled in their favor, said that you cannot name the president in the lawsuit, and therefore he ordered the president be removed. No sooner than that was done, the very day the Attorney General then informed the court, as the judge was about to set timelines for the submissions of affidavits and so on, the Attorney General then advised that they had filed an application to have the matter struck out. And the argument there was that the Police Service Commission, the life of the Police Service Commission by that time had come to an end, because the life of the Service Commission ended on the 8th of August 2021. And the argument was, since the commission life ended, the matter should not continue. Again, the judge listened to the arguments and ruled that notwithstanding the fact that the commission life ended, this matter that I was saying that the commission was unlawfully suspended, he said is of sufficient public interest and public nature to be ordered and determined on the merits. So he ordered them to argue the case. They argued, and then the judge ruled, again in our favor, that notwithstanding the fact that the commission ended, the life of the commission ended, the matter should continue. Then he said that the fact that the Police Service Commission ended, the life of the commission ended, Paul Slow should be substituted in the place and stead of the Police Service Commission to have the matter continue. That was the ruling of the judge. The Attorney General challenged that to the full court of Guyana. It went to the full court. Again, arguments were entertained, and then the full court upheld the decision of Justice Gino Prasad. They didn't finish there. The Attorney General then sought leave from the full court to appeal the matter further to the appeal court. That leave was denied. And after the leave was denied, then they had to now file submissions and all of that. And they tried to invoke the doctrine of necessity. They painted a picture. I'm going to read some of these things later. They painted a picture through the secretary of the Police Service Commission, Jai Gobind Jai Singh, and the Prime Minister, that this commission that I chaired did so many wrong things. We were rogue, and therefore it was necessary to have us suspended. That is, in essence, the argument that they made. Well, we are the decision today. Those of you who did not hear it is there. The judge said, even though they even tried to use the argument that Conway and I were charged criminally, and therefore, so the judge had to remind them that the Constitution says about the presumption of innocence. So even though you're charged, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty in a competent court of law. So all that they did, almost 2 years they run around the place. Well, the decision has been rendered. If they want, there's still the option of appeal open to them. They can appeal. But we are confident. We are confident that in the end of the day, as we said, justice won. The rule of law won out in this case. But let me give a little background. It's a long talk. The teaching instinct in me, I cannot assume that persons on this live are fully familiar with all the events and all the intricacies and so on. So I'm going to run you down quickly. The Police Service Commission we're talking about is a constitutional body. The Police Service Commission that I chaired was appointed on the 9th of August 2020. It included, as I said, I was the chairman. You had Mr. Michael Samarsal, who a retired Assistant Commissioner of Police. He became an ex officio member of the Police Service Commission by virtue of the fact that he was chairman of the Public Service Commission. So the Constitution says that the chairman of the Public Service Commission is an ex officio member of the Police Service Commission. So we had Mr. Samarsal. We also had Ms. Vesta Adams, another retired assistant commissioner. We had Ms. Claire Jarvis, another retired assistant commissioner, and Mr. Conway. So that was the composition of the Police Service Commission that I chaired, appointed on the 9th of August 2018. And the life of the Police Service Commission runs for 3 years. 3 years. So 2018 on the 9th of August. So automatically on the 8th of August 2021, the life of the commission ended. I'm going to address those dates a little later as we go on. Now, when I have some very important point I will highlight to you. Very, very important timelines. Now, when we were sworn in as members of the Police Service Commission in 2018, the secretary to the Police Service Commission was Miss Marvelyn Stevens. She was there as the secretary. We got there, and she was the secretary. right? The previous secretary, Mr. Jai Jai Singh, who was there, as he said in his affidavit, for long, over 15 years, he went around the commission. He was removed sometime around 2015. I don't know the circumstances which led to his removal, but when we got there in 2018, he was not there. In 2020, I can't remember the exact time, something around August, October 2020, Ms. Stevens, the secretary, was sent on leave. Having been sent on leave, Mr. Jai Jai Singh returned as the secretary to the Police Service Commission in that part of 2020. Now, let me say, and you know, in terms of promotions, when we took over, we made lots of promotions in 2018 and 2019. And having deliberated on those promotions, right, the list of the promotion was kept confidential until, of course, it was publicly released to say these persons were promoted. 2018, 2019, massive list, hundreds of persons promoted, no leaking of the document. In 2020, on the 23rd of December, the Service Commission met for the first time to consider promotions of rank in the Guyana Police Force from inspector to assistant commissioner. We created a short list. As is customary, we created a short list and we were to further deliberate and investigate. Right? The very night, I spoke with the president. A call was initiated for me to speak to the president. And I became aware then that somehow he knew of the shortlist because he wanted to know why certain people were not on the shortlist. Later, we discovered in an affidavit filed by Calvin Butas, who was then a senior superintendent of police, he claimed in an affidavit before the court that the promotion shortlist was leaked to him by a confidential source at the Police Service Commission. That is what he claimed. So 2018 promotion, no leakage. 2019 promotion, no leakage. 2020, this thing was leaked to him by the confidential source at the Police Service Commission. Now you make your own deductions as to who that confidential source might have been. And I believe, I know from all the evidence, you know, as a whole police, we did our own investigation and we got to understand who the person might be. You understand who I am convinced I know who the person that leaked that information was. But let me go and, you know, I saw some things in the affidavit by the secretary painting this Police Service Commission that I chaired as not following procedures and all of that. I'm going to read some of the things later. Mr. Kanye and I will discuss it because he has it as well as a former member like myself. The very secretary during 2020, when we sat and deliberated on the promotions, the merit and demerits and all of that, he publicly praised the Police Service Commission that I chaired for the transparency and thoroughness in examining these recommendations and so on. He praised publicly. So he had never seen that before. Went on to say that in many cases before, there was what you call horse trading. So some members say, well, I want this man, and people say, well, if you get the one, I got to get this man. That is what transpired. That is what transpired. And to see that this same man swear in an affidavit and tell a pack of lies, I don't know if they're asleep when the night come. I don't know how they're sleep, but I'm going to address some of the lies that he told in the affidavit a little later. I'm just giving you a rundown and a background to this thing. So we had that. And here this part two, on the 17th of December, remember, I'll give you the timelines. On the 23rd, we met for the discussions on the shortlisting, the promotion. Even before that, on the 17th of December in the year 2020, we received letters from Attorney at Law C.V. Satram on behalf of several members. Let me call you the name. We received letters on the 17th, and the letter was addressed to the chairman of the Police Service Commission. That is me. The letter was addressed to me, not the secretary or the commission. It was addressed to Paul Slow, the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And it says that the people who sent letters on that day, or the letters dated that day, you had Calvin Brutus, senior superintendent, Ravindra Stanley, Chief Prasad Bacchus. Stanley is the man, I think he's on the East Bank at what they call it, Division 4B. Chief Prasad Bacchus, who is the commander of regional Division 6, there is East Bobbies. We had Shava and Jupiter. I don't know where she is, but she now is somewhere around. Prem Narain, and one Mahadio Singh. They all got Mr. Satram to write letters to the police office, to the chairman, to me. And basically what they were saying, that they had matters pending before the police office commission, disciplinary matters pending, and that the matters were unduly delayed, and that no promotion should take place until the matters pending against them were ordered and determined. And in some cases, the lawyer went on to threaten that if any promotions were made without these matters being concluded, they will move to the court to nullify the promotion. That is what it said. The thing is there in writing. So follow me carefully. I have to reveal all of these things now that the judge has ruled that the commission was unlawfully suspended. So the 17th, these letters were written and dispatched to the police office commission. We didn't even meet yet to start the discussion, but they preempted the thing because they knew that the rule is that once you have pending disciplinary matter, you are not going to be considered for promotion. So they sought to preempt that. And let me say this about one matter in particular. I know they're going to be listening. I know they're going to be taping. I have the evidence to support it. In the case of the matter that was pending against Brutus, Brutus is the one who occasioned the undue delay. He is the one, because the process served, the breach of discipline notice served on him, he evaded that process. At the time, he was preparing his division for regional and general elections. And when those elections were over, then it was COVID. And therefore, he couldn't come for the process to commence. And then the same person then gets a lawyer to write to say that this process is unduly delayed. That is dishonesty. That is dishonesty, right? So, and then, as I said, the 23rd, we met, created a shortlist. I'm going to tell you later about the conversation with me and the president on the night of the 23rd. Then we met again, I think it was on the 30th of December 2020, sometime around then, to finalize the list. Then we learned that Brutus filed a fixed date application before the High Court to basically stop the promotions from going ahead. We were doing the final deliberations when we were advised by the legal officer that the Chief Justice had issued a ruling that the status quo should remain in the force, meaning, amongst an injunction, that we could not go ahead with the promotion, and that stopped the promotion process in 2020. They went to court, and he was later joined by others, and the thing was stopped. Right? So let me move on. Then, in addition to that, once this matter was filed before the court, when it came up for the first time, sometime in January 2021, the Attorney General appeared and indicated to the Chief Justice that he wanted time to discuss. He said the thing was unseemly. It didn't appear good that the members of the police force, some members challenging the Police Service Commission, and he wanted an opportunity to speak to the parties. That is what the Attorney General asked, and that was granted. We had two meetings. I attended the meeting virtually with the Attorney General to try to resolve the issue. But we held firm that to challenge the Service Commission in court and then trying to negotiate with the Service Commission, that amounted to blackmail. And we said that we are not going to give in to any blackmail. You can take us to court, and then while you have us in court, you're trying to negotiate for us to promote. I remember very well saying that I was that was around halfway around the country or halfway around the world at the time. So I attended virtually. And I said, for any discussion to take place, the court challenge must first be withdrawn. We are not going to negotiate with a loaded gun to our head. We have two meetings. The Mr. Conway and Mr. Samasal and Ms. Adams and the other members, Mr. Jarvis, they attended in person at the Attorney General's chambers, Main Street. I attended virtually. As I said, I was traveling. I was halfway around the world at the time. So, following that, once they didn't get their way, the matter worked its way through the court. Several postponement arguments and so on, and the matter worked its way through the court. In all of this, they filed lawsuits against me, personal lawsuit, to say because some of the things that I said, I am saying here, I said it on this program in the early days. I highlighted certain things, and they said it was defamatory, and they filed lawsuits against me, and it was clearly the intention to muzzle me. Why nobody can muzzle me? Because I am speaking the truth. I am speaking the truth. The evidence is there to back up what I am saying. And I'm not going to be cowed by anyone. If the truth makes you uncomfortable, then that is up to you. That has nothing to do with me. I will continue to tell the truth. I will die telling the truth. So let's understand this clearly. So let me tell you about the issues leading up to the charge. We kind of make a big issue over that in the submissions that Conway and I were charged criminally for conspiracy to commit fraud and all of that. And they were trying to use that as the reason. As a matter of fact, when the Prime Minister wrote us the first show cause letter, that is what was stated. For the reason he wanted to advise the President to suspend the commission is that we were charged criminally. That is what the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, said in the letter. First show cause letter. Because there was a next one as well, when there was another reason. Right? So, and then let me tell you how we end up getting charged. We were asked, that's Mr. Conway, myself, some other retired police officers, I'm going to tell you who they are in a short while, to assist the police force in revising the standing order. They called us, Mr. James, who was the commissioner, and his team called us and asked us to assist. We agreed that we were going to assist. And we started to assist in that process. I'm not going to go into the details because this is one of the charges that is still pending before the court. And as I said earlier, once a matter is pending, you not really should be commenting on the merits of the case. But just to tell you that we were there. Now, the whole story is we did the review. We assisted in revising the standing order. Even some of the statements they made in the charges, we're going to get the opportunity to deal with it in court. Now, I alluded earlier that I had a meeting with President Irfan Ali on the 16th of September 2020. In the afternoon of the 16th of September 2020, we had a meeting at State House. At Office of the President in Chief Chandapal Drive. The meeting was between me and the President alone. And I am emphasizing that because when I address the affidavit by the Prime Minister, I'll tell you why. We met, President, I got up there, I waited for a few minutes, then I was invited into the office of the President. He and I were alone. As I explained earlier, I got a nice buttering up, or he told me that I was doing a good job, and that they remember the role I played in 1992. You're referring to October 5th when they had riots in Tongue following the general election. And I, at that time, was the officer in charge of the TSU. And we went out there and we dealt professionally with the crowd and brought the situation under control in a short time. He told me that he was appreciative of that, and other members were appreciative, or members of the PPP and the government were appreciative of that. And I thanked him. And then he went on to, he even told me that, He would want me to continue as chairman of the Police Service Commission, and they were to establish some commission to look into the force. He would want me to be a member. A lot of buttering up took place. And then after the buttering up, then he came to what I suspected was the main issue, promotion of some people. He mentioned names, Brutus, Karim Bash, McPherson. As a matter of fact, when he mentioned McPherson in the same breath of Brutus and Karim Bash, I wasn't certain who he was talking about. Later on, I realized that McPherson's a member of the Presidential Guard who at the time was the close man, or shortly before was the close man for the former president and all of that. He mentioned those names. He called name, for example, Paul Williams. He mentioned Paul. He mentioned Azur in particular, how Azur was unprofessional during the story at the GCOM day where he overheard transmission from the radio set, and Azur being disrespectful and unprofessional. In terms of Paul Williams, when I told him that the Brutus and Karim Bash and some others had matters pending, he said that he then mentioned Paul Williams. He said allegations are made. I told him allegations are made of those people and the matter is being investigated. He told me Williams have allegations against him too. So I said, well, if that is the case, then all the allegations should be investigated. All should be investigated. I even remember mentioning to him of the allegation against a senior police officer where a journalist alleged that he attempted to sexually assault her in his office at Irregular. In his office, I mentioned that. I said, you have all of these matters, and therefore the matters have to be properly investigated. Anyhow, the conversation ended. That's on the 16th of September, 2020. The very next day, I had a meeting with Arafat Kwalanda, who is a close associate of the president and the government. He told me, and I know him because we were in the Rifle Association together. I considered him then a friend. So when he called me and he asked me for the meeting, I said, no problem. Didn't say what the meeting would be about, but he arranged a place in Middle Street, and we met, sat down, had something to eat, something to drink, and then he broached the issue. Being that the Attorney General wanted to meet me, but he was afraid to approach me directly. And I told him I would meet with anyone as chairman of the Police Service Commission, but then nobody's going to get me to do anything illegal or unethical or unlawful. I told him that. And we're going to deal with that because some things are mentioned in the affidavit, actually denying that. I'm going to tell you the facts are there. So we met and we had the discussion. The thing ended. The next day, I think it was, or the same day, I have the dates written down somewhere, right? He called me. There's Arafat called me. He laughing, as friends would do. He laughed. He said, man, I didn't know that you met with the big man, referring to the president, the meeting I had with the president the previous day on the 16th. And I said, well, I thought you knew. I said, no, man, he did not know. He did not know. We laughed it off. Then he called me sometime after again to tell me that he was still trying to arrange for the meeting with the Attorney General. And by that time, during the conversation, he asked me if I would meet with the Vice President. I said, fine, same conditions, right? But then he called me to tell me that he was still trying to arrange the meeting with the Attorney General, but the Attorney General was busy in Parliament. He never called back. The meetings were never held. That is the fact. That is the truth. I said so in an affidavit, and unlike those persons who tell a lot of lie in affidavit, this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Then the other issue now is the Thomas Special Assistant Commissioner. He was referred to as Assistant Commissioner. He's in the Special Constabulary as Assistant Commissioner. He's a man who is now head of the Presidential Guard. He was on leave, pre-retirement leave in August, more specifically on August the 2nd, when the president was sworn in. He was on pre-retirement leave, and he was called out to head the Presidential Guard. Shortly thereafter, the head of the Presidential Guard, Special Assistant Commissioner Edgar Thomas, wrote to the Police Service Commission about promotions, about acting appointments, a whole list of persons who they wanted to act in various ranks. But that was so irregular because no head of any department can write to the Police Service Commission. The whole procedure is that these things come through the Commissioner of Police. So when I saw it, we had a meeting and it was discussed, and I was told that we should rebuke. We should rebuke Thomas. I wrote a letter rebuking Thomas. I wrote a letter to Thomas and rebuked him. And the very day the letter was dispatched, when I got home, the president called me. And when I said the president called me on his cell phone to my cell phone about the same matter, and to say that he is the person who advised Thomas that he should make these recommendations to the Police Service Commission. And I told the president that Thomas, as a senior officer, ought to know that he cannot write to the Police Service Commission directly. Even if you told him so, he should have advised you what is the correct procedure, and he should have complied with the correct procedure. And the president said, well, man, in a kind of a light-hearted way, to go easy on Thomas and that. Right? Then the next encounter on the night of the 23rd of December. Remember I told you the Police Service Commission met on the 23rd and did a shortlist. On the very night when I got home, I got a call that I should make contact with the president. I was reluctant to do so because I figure the fact that the president talked about promotion on the 16th of September and the Service Commission met to discuss promotion on the 23rd of December, the fact that the president was calling me the same night, I felt that is the promotion he wanted to talk about. But, as I said, sometimes discipline is a bad thing. As a disciplined and a respectful person, I thought it would not have been the prudent thing to ignore the request of the president to call him. So I reluctantly called. And as I have said repeatedly, that is one of the mistakes I have made. I should have been in discipline and not called. Because from the time I called, he very briefly told me he was on a meeting on the East Coast and so on, and then he asked about the promotion. So I said, yeah, well, we met for the shortlist. He asked specifically for about Brutus and Karimba. So I told him, well, as I indicated to you, Mr. President, those persons have disciplinary matter pending. And the rule of the commission is that once you have disciplinary matter pending, you cannot be considered for promotion until those matters have been completed. And oh God, the man tear off. How long these matters are going to be pending? Y'all keeping matters pending just to deny people promotion and all that. So that is not so. This is not so in this case. And he carried on, and then the conversation ended. That is on the 23rd of December, 2020. The very next day, on the 24th of December, 2020, that is Christmas Eve day, the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson communicated with Nigel Appy, who was carrying out the functions of the Commissioner of Police. They say acting, well, not really acting. He never got acting. He was carrying out the functions. With a list of persons who should be charged criminally for varying offenses, all the offenses related to issues that they were alleging occurred during the standoff with the election. And several of those persons on the list were persons who were shortlisted for promotion. That's on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve day, 2020. The very day, 24th of December, 2020, Calvin Brutus wrote letters to several officers, Cooper, the late Cooper, Philip Azor, Simon, to tell them that they are being investigated by SOCU and CID. He wrote them, telling them that. That is on the 24th of December, 2020, these things occurred. Now, when we met again to consider promotion, we were clear that that was those letters, the missive or the communication from the Home Affairs Minister and the missive from Brutus was designed to prevent us from promoting these people. Because remember, I indicated to the president and that once a person has a pending matter, I emphasize this very matter, they're not going to be considered. So they've manufactured this thing now to say, well, these people now have pending matters, criminal matters, and therefore, or they are being investigated criminally, and therefore they should not be promoted. But we saw through the subterfuge. We met at the commission. We discussed the letter, because what was strange about the letter too, the letter came directly from Brutus, and that is not the protocol. If he signs a letter, he has to sign on behalf of the commissioner, but this time he's signing on his own right, and that we decided, with advice from the same secretary, that the letter should not be considered. And we disregarded it disregarded it, and we continue our deliberations. And I said when we were almost finished on the final day to make the thing, this injunction came preventing us from going ahead with the promotion. Now, and the Chief Justice in her ruling, I think yes in the ruling, but she didn't make the point to on the 18th of June 2021, when she wanted to know why Boutos was writing letter to his rivals. That's our word, the word that is used. She asked his lawyer, why is your client writing letter to his rivals to advise them that they are being investigated? And the lawyer's story was that, well, he is the admin man and therefore he's writing, but he's not doing the investigation. And again, she asked, well, why couldn't someone else write? Why couldn't the people who are doing the investigation write? Clear conflict of interest. Clear conflict of interest. Clear self-serving, as she said to in her ruling. Self-serving. And again, when I say these things, the records are there. So if they want to sue me again, let them go ahead. We can meet at the court step. Let them go ahead if they want. These are facts. And according to Uncle Fraser, former commissioner of police, facts are stubborn things. No matter what you do, they remain there. These are facts. And then what we had, they talk about the investigation against in the letter, in the affidavit by the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, and the Secretary to the Police Service Commission, Jagabin Jai Singh. They claim that the Conway and I were being investigated as of April 2020. Lie. That's a lie. Teacher Porcy say, you know the song from Nelson? Teacher Porcy say, when you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Lie. 2020 April, the coalition was still in power. 2020 April, the country was in a state of mere panic because of COVID. You might not know, but you know, I was doing research and give me facts. The first case of COVID in Ghana was discovered on the 11th of March 2020. And if you check the records, you will see that in the first week of April, they start with this curfew and all that. But they're saying in the affidavit that this investigation started in April of 2020. Lie. They are telling lies. This investigation was conducted by SOCU. If you look at the charge, the main man there is Krishnanath Ramana. I don't think he was even there at SOCU at that time. I'm almost confident. I know the head of SOCU was not in that position in April 2020. So let me give you the background. This investigation started as a result, and this is the investigation into this fraud when they talk about where we end up getting charged for conspiracy to commit fraud. As a result of a statement made in Parliament in February of 2021. In February 2021, the Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Robeson Ben, made a statement that $300 million were missing from the police finance office. Check the record, he said so. That was echoed by other people as well. $300 million were missing from the police finance office. As a result of that statement, SOCU was then ordered to conduct an investigation. SOCU went to the police finance office and seized the payment vouchers, which is normal during an investigation. They seized the vouchers. I remember advising the people at the finance office that they should not allow SOCU or any other agency to just take away these documents like that. A record should be kept. So they went there and they seized the document. I just saw Mr. Selwyn Peters joining us in studio. I know that he's a busy man, so I'm going to bring him in almost immediately to have a discussion with him on what transpired today. And then later on, I'll get back to this, the genesis of the investigation, to myself and Mr. Conway. Mr. Peters, sir, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. I'm not sure where you are. You're a man all over the world. Good, welcome, Selwyn.
Yeah, good evening. I'm actually in Toronto, and you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I'm sure too can the viewers.
Yes. So good evening, Paul, and let me congratulate you on that victory that you you achieved today. Certainly, it's a product of your courageousness, your tenacity, and your belief that you strongly held that the actions that the president took against you was a violation of the rule of law, a violation of your rights, and you were not going to countenance it. So we did a lot of work on your behalf, myself, Mr. Todd, Mr. Smart, Mr. Toby King, and other people in the background that were not in the forefront, but we did a lot of work. And certainly this decision bears it out. And this decision was a complete and total vindication of your rights.
Thank you very much, Seblin, for that. I want to take this opportunity to, on behalf of myself, on the other members of the Police Commission, Service Commission, to thank you and the other lawyers, Mr. Dexter Todd, Mr. Dexter Smart, and we can't forget Toby King, who in the early days was there toiling day and night to put those to do the research and so. So we want to thank you, and we are forever grateful for the competence and for your tenacity, because you stuck with it through thick and thin. I know sometimes we had some hurdles to overcome, and we together overcame those hurdles. So Selwyn, I have to thank you very, very much for that. You know, one of the things I thank myself, or I praise myself about, is so involving you in this process very, very early. If you recall, very early I reached out to you, and I am so grateful that you immediately accepted to assist me initially, and then the other members of the Police Service Commission. So thank you very much.
Well, only because it's you. I know people don't know, but we go way back. We go way back since I was a teenager. And so I hold you in very high, I held you in high regards then and now and throughout the 20 something years that I know you. So in other contexts, in other situations, I would have said no, because as you know, President Ali and I were good, and so on and so forth. So, um, uh, by the way, I had a chat with President Ali, and I spoke today. By the way, uh, we tend to speak when these decisions come down or at crucial points. So we had a conversation today again, but it's only because of the high regards with which I held you, and the high regards for which I hold the Constitution of Guyana, that I took this case on. This was one of the first cases. I mean, there have been several cases where it could be because of bad advice that the president got. The Constitution was violated by him in terms of how he operated. It was done. It was violated in the appointment of the police service, the new police service commission. It was violated in terms of how Hicken was appointed. But your situation was the first case under this new administration where the Constitution was violated, and so in such a flagrant manner. And certainly, I'm glad that we took this case through. I mean, as you told the audience, because I've been listening throughout. I just didn't come on the stream yard, but as you told the audience, there was a lot of rivers to cross and a lot of hurdles to overcome. I mean, certainly they fought, and they fought very hard, and you stayed the course. And I think that's why I sort of big you up, because certainly a lot of people would have left, and somebody got to change that thing. They're listing me as Clinton Conway, retired assistant commissioner of police. And let me say, I would have loved to retire as an assistant commissioner of
Yes,
police. But
I saw the thing there. My operator, the man who assists me, I think he added the usual stream. He added there. Now, Selvin, I was trying to give the viewers a synopsis of what took place in court today. You are more competent to do so. Just explain to our viewers exactly what happened today, and perhaps the way forward. What's next?
well, well, what happened today was the court considered whether or not the decision that was taken by the president violated the rule of law, violated the Constitution, and violated the fair trial rights of the commissioners and the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And the court went through the laws that govern the appointment, the laws that govern the president's office, the law that governs the removal of the Police Service Commission members, and found that the president acted in a manner that was unlawful. Imagine that. President Ali acted in a manner that is unlawful, and the court so found. How about that? That he acted ultra vires, Section 25, 225 of the Constitution, because certainly Section 225 sets out the process for removal of the Police Service Commission members. And the judge went through that step by step. What had to happen, the prescribed authorities, the Judicial Service Commission being involved, and then a tribunal being appointed. The court found that the president's actions were arbitrary, and those are very strong legal terms, that the president's conduct rendered an unfairness to Mr. Slow and the members of the Police Service Commission, and that when the president took the decision to suspend the chairman and the commissioners, he violated their constitutional rights to the equal protection of the law and the due process of the law. So it's not only that he violated the law in terms of how he dealt with the office, but he also violated these commissioners and the chairman constitutional rights to equal protection of the law. And those are no small findings, and that his decision was null, void, and of no legal effect. It means that the commission was never suspended. All right,
Well,
that is what
yes,
it means.
that's interesting. That's very, very interesting because one of the questions that has been popping up from the time this decision was rendered, people have been calling me, police ranks have been calling to find out what happens to the promotions that were made on the 28th of June, 2021. Some people are very interested in that aspect of it. So perhaps you can explain that.
Well, I think what we're gonna do is obviously just we don't have the written decision yet. This is just a summary of the decision. So what we will have to do is we'll have to study the full decision, which is over 50 pages, and we'll have to engage. We'll have to engage with the Attorney General, and we'll have to engage with other the Police Service Commission and other parties in this matter. We're going to be engaged with them on costs, and we'll have to engage with them on any sort of collateral impacts of this decision, because the thing about it is the only relief really that was granted in this case is the first relief that Mr. Slow had asked for in his application, which is a declaration that the purported suspensions of the chairman and members of the Police Service Commission, namely Paul Slow, Michael Somersall, Claire Jarvis, Vesta Adams, Clinton Conway, from performing the functions of their respective offices in the commission, which His Excellency the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana did order by letter on the June 16th, 2021, were contrary to and in violation of and ultra vires the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and in particular Article 225 subsection 6 and 210 subsection 3, and therefore of no force or effect. So that's the only order that was granted in this case today. There was no consequential orders. It doesn't mean that consequential orders cannot follow. We can approach the court if it's unclear as to any consequences that should flow from the fact that the court said that this commission was, whatever the president did, is of no force or effect. So there was no suspension.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Thank you very much. I'm sure I suspect many of the ranks who are affected are on this live and listening, so that would have clarified some of the questions they were raising. Now, another issue I want you to address. I know we discussed this some time ago when we saw the Prime Minister Mark Phillips swearing to an affidavit, which actually said that the meeting that I claimed that I had, well, the meeting that I had with the president on the 16th of September, he's saying that that statement is scandalous and that meeting never took place, that he's swearing to an affidavit to say that. And we have the evidence to show that the president himself acknowledged that such a meeting did take place. I want to hear your views on that part of it, Selwyn.
Well, that situation where the prime minister and the advice of the attorney general wrote that in an affidavit was quite unfortunate, to be quite frank with you, because obviously the prime minister would have known that the president wrote a press statement saying that he met with you, and he mentioned meeting with you in about 5 or 6 paragraphs in his statement on June 1st. No, I think May 31st, 2021 it was, right? So he mentioned several times his meetings. He mentioned, number one, that his meetings with you was in the course of carrying out his constitutional duties and trying to understand what's the various service commissions do. He mentions that he spoke with you a few times, and that he acknowledged that he spoke to you, but he differs on what the nature and content of the conversations were. And so, I mean, the only thing that the recourse that you have really for an affidavit that contains false evidence is to ask for a case to be made of perjury. But I suspect that you're as magnanimous as you are, and as nice as you are, and as far back you go with your relationship with Mark Phillips, and that relationship, you may be able to reconcile that and make it water under the bridge. But I agree with you that it was painful to see that in an affidavit, and we did address it in our oral submissions, and we haven't seen the written judgment of His Honor yet. His Honor may well have addressed that issue in his written judgment. That's over 50 pages. So um, let's see what His Honor says about that, and then we'll figure a way forward.
Yeah, well, I like that, and I like the fact that you're saying that I'm so magnanimous. Perhaps I used to be, but when you see these things, as you rightly pointed out, they can be very painful, because basically what the prime minister is saying in this affidavit is that Slow is a liar, and you and I know that that is not so. And the president confirmed that we had the meeting, and one would have thought that a mere casual investigation would have revealed that yes, this meeting did in fact take place, and the president did acknowledge that the meeting took place. I can only think that the prime minister just signed blindly, as we would say. Something was taken to him by the affidavit was taken to him, and without reading, he signed. That is the only credit. Well, it's not even a credit. That's the only thing explanation I can give. Because if he had gone through the affidavit, you would have seen that another thing claimed in the affidavit, as I alluded to earlier, he claimed that an investigation commenced against Slow and Conway in April of 2020. That is not so. That is a lie. And you, as my lawyer, has always been advising me when affidavits are prepared to go through it meticulously to ensure that all the statements made therein are accurate. And that is what I have done. So I have to thank you for that. I never signed anything. And you would know, Selwyn, that on many occasions when the affidavits are drafted, I would come back and I would say, look, this thing is not accurate. We need to amend this part of it. Selwyn?
Well, you've been a most engaging client. You're one of those clients that number one, you're very responsive to counsel, but number two, you push back too. I mean, we don't always get our way with you. I mean, sometimes you have your thoughts, your opinions, and your ideas, and you want it to be reflected, and you make sure it gets reflected. But yeah, you're right that you know a client or anyone that swears an affidavit should ensure that the contents are pretty clear and that it could be supported. You'll recall a situation recently where the current Attorney General of Trinidad got into trouble in the United States because he swore an affidavit that was patently false, and the court criticized him for it. And the Trinidad Bar Association actually, there was a meeting where a motion was debated to remove him or to recommend his removal from that office because he can't say his excuse was he was sitting in some hotel, and because he was sitting in a hotel, he was distracted and couldn't possibly read the affidavit carefully that he swore was true. It's like I said, it's unfortunate that the prime minister swore an affidavit that contains information that is false, could be proven to be false. Um, I don't know where we go from here with it. Obviously, there recourse, there are remedies that are available if you want to avail yourself of it. But certainly, you know, um, if it doesn't affect your reputation in any significant way, you're going to have to weigh the scales, particularly given the significant judgment that came down today. It's one of the rarest. It's a significant decision, but it's rare. It called for a lot of judicial courage to say that the president violated the constitution in all these ways, and certainly um, it's not a slow doctrine.
Well, yes, because let me say this, kudos to the judge. I think we were always confident that if the Constitution was properly interpreted, this would have been the outcome. But the thing in Guyana now, we have to be honest, we have to be candid and say that some people believe it is a perception that some of these decisions are not likely to go in accordance with the law. And that is the worrying thing. So even though when we looked at the matter objectively, we felt only one ruling could have been handed down, but at the back of your mind, you're saying that maybe something is going to intervene. So I'm glad that the judge ruled um, according to the law, according to the Constitution, because the matters that he outlined, Article 225, is clear. I don't have to be an attorney to read and understand it. Any ordinary person with common sense and with comprehension can read and understand and know that the Constitution wasn't followed. And they too actually admitted that. They actually admitted, but they tried to create a case to say that the commission was so rogue and the situation was so dire with police officers challenging the police office commission. They tried to create this this narrative that things were so precarious, things were so bad that the president, notwithstanding the articles of the articles of the Constitution, was compelled to act and did what he did. That's Selwyn.
Yeah, and I think it goes to something fundamental. It goes to something. Your comments go to something fundamental. Judges must decide cases based on facts and the law, and without any influence from outsiders. So a judge should not be influenced by what the president may think or how the president may respond to him or her, how the attorney general may respond to him or how the legal fraternity, because in Guyana, for example, the legal fraternity is interested, and the legal fraternity in Guyana is politically aligned in different ways. I mean, look, I was good with all kind of people in the legal fraternity in Guyana, and some of them don't talk to me anymore. Some of them don't respond to me as they did before. Some of them call, even the attorney general called me a political lawyer. I wasn't doing any other case except slow when the attorney general called me a political lawyer because I took on this case. And all those things, you can imagine the pushback and the tidal wave that goes against lawyers if they actually live in Guyana and have to litigate this case. I was able to litigate your case fearlessly because I'm not dependent on the state for my earnings, and I'm not dependent on people aligned to the state for my livelihood. So I was able to litigate this case fearlessly. But I mean, we have situations. You'd recall a case where a minister said two Court of Appeal judges should be defrocked. I'm not sure if you remember that case.
Yes, I remember that very well. I remember that very well when the ruling did not go in his favor. The man, the same, I think it's the dildo man, said that they should be defrocked. Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, so there are strong tidal waves in small country Guyana where people don't go along with the status quo ante, you know. Justice Gino Prasad went with the facts and the law as it was, and he went through the Constitution. He went through the president's powers in Article 88. He went through Section Article 8 of the Constitution. He went through the fundamental rights section so as to find that your rights were violated as well as the other commissioners. And so it's a decision that, to use President Ali's words, and shout out President Ali, I know you're listening, take this to the bank and bank it. How about
Take it to the bank.
that?
You can take it to the bank. Exactly. You can take it to the bank. Well, I think, I guess we have to discuss um, offline some at some convenient time the way forward in these matters. Yes, it was a substantial decision in our favor, but I don't believe that, having regards to all that transpired, that some things can be left or should be left hanging. At least I think at this point, the Prime Minister would owe us an apology for that falsehood that he signed in an affidavit. And I will address later because the Secretary did likewise. And I will have to consult on the way forward. Because as I have been saying on this program, Selwyn, I don't know, you might have listened. When I was a little boy, we used to play a game. We played game, and then you would say, no, done as you like. You tell people you can't done as you like. So I am saying, and this matter is not done as you like. We have to take it to its logical conclusion. I know today, at the end, it was stated that in terms of cost, submissions are to be made by the 14th of next month. And I know that we'll be discussing that to deal with it. But Selvig, is there anything else you want to say in respect of this or any other matter?
I mean, certainly this is a matter. It's a powerful decision. You remember there was a Carvel Duncan matter similar to your matter, but that matter did not result in a judicial decision. Your matter resulted in a judicial decision that has set a significant legal precedence in Guyana. Um, I suspect that it's not going to end. It's not going to end at this stage, even though, I would urge that it end at this stage. But I suspect that it's gonna make its way up the chain of the judicial ladder to probably the Court of Appeal and perhaps the Caribbean Court of Justice. If it does, I will have to remind the courts that it should be any appeal should be dealt with expeditiously and not be hanging and keeping yourself and the other commissioners who have got this great victory in limbo. And certainly, you're right that we have to sort of study the consequential effects of the fact that the commission was found to be unlawfully removed, and that the commission, as far as the court found, it was null and void. So it means that the commission could have operated as a commission, which you guys were doing. The court hasn't said that you couldn't sit as a commission as you were if the president's suspension was null and void, right? So that is where the promotion list that you approved, 132 officers, some of whom have retired, some of whom are dead, some of whom are still there and not promoted and waiting. We're waiting on this decision. So y'all heard the decision. The decision was in Paul Slow's favor, and I say Paul Slow acting on behalf of the other members. So he was like a class participant. He was the representative of the commission as it was at that point in these proceedings, and they were successful. And I hope they're all happy. I know Vesta Adams, her husband died before she even got the result. I hope in some way, she can reconcile that. I don't know if the stress of this caused his premature demise, but I hope she's fine with the decision that came down today. And then there's Claire Jarvis, Paul Slow, and Clinton Conway paid a high price with the trumped up charges and all the stuff that they did to Paul Slow, including the actions that I witnessed on October 15th of 2021 when the police tried to humiliate him at the court. I mean, he's even lost his job with the West Indies Cricket Board because of external influences from Guyana, and because he took a stance. So presidents are very powerful people, and sometimes they don't act on their own. If they can't act, other people act on their behalf. And so in this case, these commissioners and the chairman paid a very, very high price. And I think, for your tenacity, um, for your strong will, for your indomitable spirit, I think we all owe you a debt of gratitude.
Thanks, Selvin. I've seen Versace on the live when she's saying that she's fine. Um, she said God did it for and Selvin, thanks, because one of the things they talk about consequential effects. I can tell you, even though people will tell you I've always, that I've always stood firm. Well, it's not about me alone. You have family, you have friends, and they are the ones who are so stressed out over this and other matters. Because I keep telling them, look, we did no wrong, and we're gonna be vindicated in the end. Well, we have some knowledge of the process and the law and all of that. But these people who do not have this type of knowledge, when they hear that the government, you're actually challenging a decision of the president, the most powerful man in the country, people tend to believe that things are not going to go your way. And that is why we have to express even more appreciation for the strength shown by the judge in following the law and delivering this decision. So, Selwyn, thank you very much again for all your counsel. Thank you very much for being with me and the other members of the commission throughout. I say this again. When I reached out to you in 2021 with this matter, it was not by mistake, because I was conscious of the fact that should I engage any local lawyer, the same allegations that are going to be made about them being politically aligned and all of that. And I thought, therefore, that outside of the fact that I knew you all these years, outside the fact that I know that you're an extremely skillful advocate for rights and all of that, I believe then that you were the best person suited to represent myself and the members of the commission. So again, I thank you very much for all the work you have done. So thank you, Selman.
Yeah, and I wasn't a PNC or APNU AFC lawyer, right? I was more. I mean, everyone know I was more tilted towards the PPPC because most of my friends at that point in time were. in the hierarchy of the PPP. They run the government of Guyana, right? So when it's they were kind of giving you hell if you if you ask Royce Delfort to represent you, or if you ask Amanza Walton Desir or Darren Wade or any of them to represent you. So you were right. You made a good choice. You choose a lawyer who could not have been accused of being a political lawyer, in the sense that a lawyer is a politician of sorts, and that was not me, as a matter of fact. And so, and I think the PPP, at least the ones in the hierarchy, the president, the vice president, they know of my integrity. They know that I take principled stands, and that's why the president and I have a relationship until today. If he thought my stance was unprincipled, we couldn't have the relationship that we still have, or the vice president. So, I mean, this wasn't about politics. This was about justice. And the good thing about today is you and your commissioners, you got the justice that you deserved. I can't tell you that I'm going to do very many more cases like this in Guyana, because I'm kind of trying to ease myself out of doing these cases. But I can tell you that this case was well worth the time. It was well worth the effort. We started this in May of 2021. This was like a 2-year journey.
Almost, yeah, exactly.
It was like a 2-year journey, and it wasn't an easy 2-year journey. I mean, I feel, like I said, we have to sit down and think about what recourse could be granted to you, as somebody who served that country for over 40 years as a law enforcement officer. 40 years of unblemished service, a person who has a DSM and a CCH, a person who has protected two President Jagans. You've worked under at least 5 presidents, and to be treated this way, now you have to ask for permission to leave the country. People are trying to run you through a chute in handcuffs. People are making false allegations against you, weaponizing the system against you. These are you spoke about your family, and obviously it affected your wife. Obviously it affected your son. It affected your ex-wife. It affected other family members of yours who spoke to me from time to time. So I understand that it not only affected you in significant ways, but it affected your family in fundamental ways. And I hope that they were able to at least tune into the live today. And I hope it gives them some solace, at least, even if it's the minimal degree of solace, that at least your stance for 2 years was not in vain.
Thank you very much, Selwyn. The stance was not in vain. And as you indicated, it's up to them if they want to take it any further. It will be foolish, because we know the law is on our side. And you remember this ruling is not only one ruling that was upheld. Well, we had previous rulings in this matter um, that were appealed. The one when the judge decided to substitute, or to slow should substitute in the place instead of the commission. That was appealed to the full court. The full court ruled in our favor, and then an application was made to have the full court decision appealed further, and that was denied. So it's a whole train of events, and we remain confident that wherever it goes, even if it has to reach the CCJ, the Constitution is on our side. The decision by the judge was well researched and well thought out. All the case laws and all of those things were mentioned. So we are confident that we are sitting on solid rock. So Selwyn, thanks for your time. And we will talk over the weekend and about the way forward and all of that.
Yes, thank you very much for hosting me.
All right, Selwyn. Bye. Have a good
I
evening.
know.
Yeah, folks, there you heard it from the lawyer who represents, the lead lawyer for myself and the Police Service Commission, Mr. Selwyn Peters. And you couldn't get it from a better person. You got the whole background there. When Selwyn came on, I was telling you about the genesis of the investigation against myself and Mr. Conway. I told you that this thing started when the Home Affairs Minister made a statement in Parliament that $300 million were missing from the Police Finance Office. SOCU started the investigation. They seized all the payment documents, payment vouchers from the Finance Office. And in going through those vouchers, they then saw that Conway and Slow and others were paid a stipend by the police administration to conduct this review. Stipend was, as I indicated, the commissioner, Mr. James Carlos, asked us to assist. At no time did we have any discussion about payment. Later on, they decided that we were going to be given a stipend. And that is what they use to say that we conspire to commit fraud and we were charged. But when I'm going to address the dates and all of that. So on the 19th of May, 2021, a charge was filed against Conway, myself, Mr. Whitaker, and Mr. Gilbert. These are all former members of the post, George Fraser, along with some serving members, Assistant Commissioner Andrews Jr., Marceline Washington, this boy, who was the finance officer then, and several persons. And the sad thing is that you had people like Marceline Somersall, Marceline Washington, interdicted from duty and into retirement and all that. I'm not even sure if she got her benefits. Royston Andrews Jr. has been interdicted now for almost 2 years, and the matter cannot be completed. So that is what we have. That is what we have. These are the facts. And I remember well. I'm going to bring in Mr. Conway in a while, because I remember well that the thing is that once the SOCU went through those vouchers and saw that monies were paid to Slow and Conway, the head made a statement. He coming to get me and Conway now. This is a man who at the time had a matter pending before the Police Service Commission. And this is the same person who is now heading the department that was investigated 2 members of the Police Service Commission. Conflict of interest and unprofessional behavior, you judge. Now, after that, the very disciplinary charges I referred to were challenged in court, and the court threw out the challenge, right? And then what happened? Conway arrested in relation to the stipend. And interestingly, Conway and others arrested on the 19th of May. And the very 19th of May, the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, sent a show cause letter to Conway and Slow for us to show cause why he should not advise the President to have us removed from the our offices of the Police Service Commission. The 19th, charges are filed. This even before those who were in Guyana appeared in court. So a charge is filed against several persons jointly on the 19th of May. And the very day, the 19th of May, the Prime Minister is writing this show cause letter. I believe that was a conspiracy. I believe clearly that it was a conspiracy. And then the appearance took place on the following day. So as I've said before, even before persons appeared in court, the Prime Minister is writing to the President to advise that we should be removed from the Police Service Commission. And I told the persons who charge here, I have the names here. We have Royston Jr., Marceline Washington, Michael Sutton, and the Assistant Superintendent Marlon Kelman. All of those persons at the time were serving members of the police force. And I say they were collateral damage, because it's me and Conway they wanted to come after to get us out of the Police Service Commission. So the fact that Sutton and all of those, Washington and Andrews Jr. were charged, collateral damage. But they don't care that you're going to destroy people's life, people's career. They don't care. That is the callousness of these people who you have there in power. And the matters are still pending, almost 2 years. I think the matter is due to come up next on April the 26th. the same conspiracy to commit fraud, April 26. And as I indicated to you, there was a second show cause letter. They're so desperate to get at this police service commission that I chaired. So you have one show cause letter from the Prime Minister on the 19th of May 2021, and on the 4th of June, second show cause letter on the 4th of June 2021. This time he's saying that we joined, all members of the Service Commission this time, we joined with Member of Parliament Ganesh Maipal to challenge the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. And they're saying that is the reason why we should be suspended from the Police Service Commission. And let me tell you this, the Police Service Commission was not the only commission that joined in that matter. Other commissions as well joined, including the Public Service Commission, which was functioning at the time. And they hadn't to show cause why they should be removed from office. So it's a clear case where they were targeting the Police Service Commission. And I will tell you why a little later. I will tell you why. Then what happened? On the 16th, the president, as it came out in the ruling, and Mr. Peters highlighted, on the 16th of June 2021, we received letters from the president saying that we were immediately suspended from our office. I remember I was in, even before that, where we got the second show cause letter, I'm sure Mr. Peters will remember that. I was somewhere on the islands working. And I said to him, I said, Selwyn, these people are going to suspend the Police Service Commission. And he said, well, they can't do that because the condition precedent, as they would say, were not there. In other words, there was no Judicial Service Commission to advise the according to the Constitution. I said, look, watch and see. So when on the 16th, I remember well, I was at the Bosha Joe cricket ground, and I was in an area where there was no Wi-Fi. And when I moved to the Wi-Fi area, immediately the phone started to go crazy. And when I looked, I saw this thing from the president. So I went back to the hotel and I read the thing and I called Selwyn and I said, this is what happened. He said, well, like you're Obia man. I said, no, I am not no Obia man. But I saw what was taking place. I saw what was taking place. So the 16th, they were suspended, and as indicated immediately, Selwyn wrote to the president and indicated that this suspension was unlawful and that he had advised us to continue our work. And we did that. We had meetings. We made the promotion, as we said, we're going to discuss that later and decide on the way forward. We did that, right? So the suspension took place. And then let me tell you this significantly. The 16th of June is when the president decided to suspend the Service Commission. On the 18th, the 18th of June was when the Chief Justice was to make the decision on this challenge by Brutus and others. So 16th of the 18th, the Chief Justice is supposed to announce the decision, and they decided to suspend the commission on the 16th. Why? Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because they knew that the case brought against the Service Commission was going to be thrown out. They hadn't a leg. It was rubbish. The case was rubbish that they brought. And they knew that the Chief Justice would have ruled in our favor. So therefore, they did not want the commission to be in place on the 18th when the ruling was handed down, so that the promotion, because they knew once the rule handed down, once the Chief Justice showed the challenge, we would have gone ahead and released the promotions that were held up since the 31st of December 2020. So they moved to suspend the commission, disregard the Constitution, disregard all of those provisions, suspend the commission. The decision was not handed down on the 18th. The decision was handed down on the 28th. And as we know by now, the challenge was thrown out. The challenge. And hear this further. I tell you how to do all my research, let's give me facts. I don't come and talk with water in my mouth. The 16th of June, the suspension of the Police Service Commission that I chaired, when the life of the commission was due to end on the 8th of August 2021. In other words, the commission had less than 2 months. Why would you suspend the commission, violate, disregard, as the judge said today, the provisions of the Constitution, suspend the commission on the 16th of June, when the life of the commission would have automatically ended on the 8th of August the same year, just less than 2 months away. But they did not want the commission to be in place because of this same promotion issue. They want to promote their own people. They did not want fairness in the process. They wanted people who had matters pending, even matter before the court, because in one case, the man had challenged the thing and it was still pending before the court. They wanted those persons promoted. I said no, and the commission members said no, that is not going to happen. We have rules, and we are going to follow this rule. So later on, when we address the nonsense that the secretary wrote, we're going to deal some more with that. But let me move on. Which, as I said, we challenged the suspension. We named the president as a respondent. We went through this already. The judge ruled that you cannot name the president, so he was removed. And then we had all of these interlocutory rulings and all of that. And then we came all the way down to today, where the judge ruled in our favor that the commission was unlawfully, unconstitutionally suspended. The order by the president to suspend the commission was null, void, and of no effect. Now, let me go into this thing. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, because I don't think he's here now. But he's here. He dropped off, but I want to deal with the Police Service Commission. And I know as a former member, I want to have him on this discussion. I think he's trying to get on. But I'm going to deal with the Police Service Commission. The suspension of the Police Service Commission, allegations. Now, when we took over the Police Service Commission in 2018, it was a situation where members of the force had lost confidence in the Police Service Commission. Allegations were made of monies being paid for promotion. Names were named. People paying monies. An investigation was done. This is not slow saying this. This is not slow making this allegation. An investigation was conducted. The persons involved were named. The persons involved were named. The bagman, the man who collected money, a man living on the East Bank on behalf of the people who were actually receiving the money, those persons were named in this report. And let me say this about that Police Service Commission. That Police Service Commission had some former members of the force who were stalwarts. No way can you impute their integrity. Lloyd Alvin Smith, used to call him wrong man. And the reason why they call him wrong man, because police used to say that he's a wrong man to mess with. Upright. You had Mr. Arrol Martin, retired Deputy Commissioner of Police. Upright, upstanding citizen. You had also Kijan, the late Kijan, attorney at law, former assistant commissioner, upright post. You can't bring chauvinist to them. But you had also the chairman of the Public Service Commission, Mr. Carville Duncan, and you had the chairman, Satnanan, I think it was. I can't remember his name directly. I'm going to tell you his name in a while. He was the, Satnanan was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And as I said, allegations were made. These allegations were investigated, and a report submitted. I'll tell you some of the findings of the report in a while. So we had all these allegations, payment for promotion, alleged allegation of demands for sexual favors, among other allegations. These things were made. These allegations were made. So when the secretary, Mr. Jaigobin Jai Singh, sits there and tries to paint the commission I chaired as a rogue commission, I want to remind him that he was there for all of those years when all of these things were done. I'll tell you some of the other egregious acts of that very commission that I'm referring to. As I said, officers were named. And it might surprise you, or it might not surprise you to learn that some of the officers who were alleged to have paid large sums of money for promotion now sits in senior positions in the Guyana Police Force. At least 4 or 5 of them. Their names are there in the report. So if they want to challenge, let them sue. Let me produce a report in court. It's not I did the investigation. I did not do this investigation. This is a investigation that was done, and I happen to get a copy of the report. Right? People who sit in high positions now in the Guyana police force at command levels were alleged to have paid promotion. There's one man who joined the force. I can't remember the exact year I know the thing, but the man got, in all his years in the force, he got three promotions, and he's now a superintendent of police. Three promotions, and he is a superintendent of police. Figure that out. Figure that out. He's not no bright boy. He is not no bright boy, right? And then let me tell you this. There was a case, one of the worst cases, involving a man who is still in the force. I can call his name because he is, again, I said the truth. Sergeant Hoyt at the time. I think he's still in the force. I think he's an assistant superintendent. He holds some rank now. He was promoted from sergeant to inspector. Promoted, got his letter and everything. And then a friend of the then commissioner told the commissioner that Hoyt had some matter, some private matter pending before the court. Private matter, claimed some private matter was pending. And based on that, the commissioner then communicated to the chairman of the police service commission, and they rescinded, they revoked Hoyt's promotion to inspector. They take away the promotion. And then when the matter was investigated properly by Mr. Smith, who was on the commission, going to discover that the allegation was false. There was nothing pending before the court. And then I think sometime after that, they give back the promotion. But all the embarrassment and all of that, the county report, the man was never even offered an apology. He was never even offered an apology. That is the commission that was there. Y'all share the life, share the life. The class full, overflowing, but continue to share. Continue to share. I was hoping to get Mr. Conway, but apparently he has some issues. He is not getting on. I don't know, the gremlins might be at work. But I can talk, I can continue to talk. They take away the man promotion. The records are there. Ask him. He was promoted from sergeant to inspector. And because the commissioner friend told the commissioner that this man had some matter pending before the court, some private matter, no criminal matter, they took away the man's promotion. Took away the man's promotion. And then you had another case, the secretary, Jai Singh, coming and telling a lot of lies in the affidavit, which I'll address shortly. They have the case of Courtney Crummy Wing. Sorry, that's a Courtney Crummy Wing. Courtney Ramsey. He's now a retired senior superintendent of police. Ramsey was recommended for promotion and was promoted by the Police Service Commission. And when the list was taken to them places, the Service Commission that they had in Brickdam and the Service Commission they had in Ralph Street, Ramsey's name was removed from the list. And one of the other people who sit in a high position now, name was inserted. Ramsey challenged it in court. Ramsey took the matter to court. And what they said that the reason why, because Ramsey outlined the whole thing, all the persons who they promoted ahead of him, who were not as qualified as he was, he challenged them in court. And after challenging them in court, the response from the commission, that commission, was that the reason why they did not promote him is because he was close to retirement. They said that he was close to retirement, and therefore that is the reason why they did not promote him. Ramsey, old detective, did his research and discovered there were two senior superintendents over the years who were on pre-retirement leave when they were promoted to assistant commissioner. Hear this? They said they can't promote Ramsey to assistant commissioner because he's close to retirement. And Ramsey did the research and discovered that there were two senior superintendents who were on leave prior to retirement and they were promoted. Well, when they were faced with that in the court, the Attorney General chucked in. The matter is there, buddy. I am telling lies. The Attorney General had no defense, and the court had to rule in Ramsey's favor. I have a copy of the challenge by Ramsey with me. I have a copy of Ramsey's challenge, all the pleadings that he made in the case. So when this secretary come to tell us a whole bundle of lies in an affidavit, he must remember those things. One, he must tell us how the promotion shortlist was leaked to Brutus. Brutus said so, that the promotion shortlist was leaked to him by a confidential source at the Police Service Commission. Brutus said so. He must tell us what happened with the Oit matter, where Oit was promoted to inspector and then they took away the promotion. He must tell us what happened with the Ramsey, because he said in the affidavit that he have over 15 years experience at the Police Service Commission and all of that. So tell us what happened in those matters. Tell us what happened in those matters. Tell us. I'm waiting here for Mr. Conway, but CC got in trouble. CC, if you got trouble today to join me, we can talk some more on Wednesday, man. We can talk. But I really wanted you to join me on this part. So when they come, as we have said, when they realize that the Constitution was violated in the suspension of the thing, they manufacture a pack of lies to show that this commission that I chaired was so rogue that the president had to act. Well, let me say this. The commission that I chaired was the most consequential commission in years. We sorted out all those disciplinary issues. We streamlined the process because, the commission is responsible for promotion and discipline. A lot of people only concerned with the promotion part. They don't look at the discipline part. But we said we have to address all of that. So, therefore, you have cases where people have disciplinary matter pending for years and no effort is made to address those matters. However, when it's time for promotion, you hear that this person should not be considered for promotion because they have a pending disciplinary matter. Let me go back to the promotion that was sent in 2020. Facts. I get the documents. I get my docs lined up. In 2020, I recognize as the chair, they have the standing order of the police. Standing order 22 addresses promotion, right? Standing order 22 speaks to, among other things, senior promotion. And it talks about a senior promotion board to make recommendation for promotion. And the standing order stipulates that the senior promotion board shall consist of the commissioner, who is the chairman, the deputy commissioner administration, who is the secretary, deputy commissioner crime, deputy commissioner law enforcement, crime, deputy commissioner special branch, and deputy commissioner operations. They are the persons who should form the senior promotion board. I recognize at that time that you hadn't deputy commissioners in these positions, right? I further recognize that the persons who are sitting in these positions, is operations, admin, CID, and special branch, they held the rank of senior superintendent and were in contention to be assistant commissioners. I advised the man who's sitting in the chair, as the chairman of the Police Service Commission with a responsibility for promoting, remember the Service Commission promoting, I advised him. I said, look, the fact that these people are contenders for promotion, they should not sit on the senior promotion board. You have to come up with a board that does not consist persons who are contenders for promotion, which is logical. How can you have people sitting on the board to consider promotion when they themselves are eligible for promotion? So I advise RP, put together a promotion board, because there are other senior people who could have constituted the board and come up with a thing. Lo and behold, the same people, some of the same persons who were in contention for promotion sat on the board. And here this one, again, I get the documents, man. I get the documents. The man at admin at the time was Calvin Brutus, still is, I think, Calvin Brutus, right? He signed a return for promotion to the Police Service Commission. He had a pending disciplinary matter at the time. He wrote to recommend himself for promotion to assistant commissioner. And at the same time, identified 13 ranks in the police force who should not be promoted because they have pending disciplinary matters. I have all the names of those persons. Hear this. Let me repeat it for emphasis. The man sits as admin and signs the promotion return to the Police Service Commission, recommending himself to be promoted to Assistant Commissioner and others. And in the same memo that he sends, he is saying that there are at least 13 other ranks who should not be promoted to various levels, not only from thing was inspector up, because they have pending disciplinary matters. Tell me if that is not self-serving, if that is not unprofessional, if that is not perhaps even corrupt. You tell me. He sued me once, he can sue me twice. The records are there. The records are there, right? So that is what happened with that list. And we said, despite what you hear Jai Singh saying here, and you know, they sign these things affidavit, and as we say in Guyana, they skin up themselves, right? The secretary, let me read it here. Let me read the part in the affidavit, what he's saying about the process. He's saying, listen to what the secretary is saying. I read in the affidavit, he's signing name to it. I wonder how these people could sleep in the night, if they could sleep at all. And let me say this, I am not a superstitious person, but I believe that there is a God. And I believe that if you swear to something, you tell lies, if something can happen to you, it can happen to your family, it can happen to your children, somebody can suffer. You can't be doing these things to people. Hear what the man says here in the affidavit. This is para 10 of his affidavit. He said, in relation to the procedure for promotion of police officers, the process is that the executive leadership team, which comprises the Commissioner of Police, heads of departments, and all divisional commanders, would produce a proposed promotion list. The promotion list is then sent to the minister. That is the Minister of Home Affairs for his notification. That is what he's saying. Now show me which part of the Constitution it involves the Minister of Home Affairs in the promotion of rank from Inspector to Assistant Commissioner. Show me. That is what the man says in an affidavit. And no doubt that is what took place before we got there. Because as I said, when we got there, things were so awry that we had to put some brakes in it. One of the things I discovered when we got to the Police Service Commission is that when allegations were made that police ranks committed, senior ranks from Inspector to Assistant Commissioner committed themselves, the police administration used to send the report to the Minister of Home Affairs. And the Minister of Home Affairs, through the PS, will write to the Police Service Commission to say that the minister has no objection to the matter being investigated or to charge being implemented. Rubbish. The Constitution has no role for the Minister of Home Affairs or any other minister in the promotion and discipline of the members of the force. So we stopped that. We told them that must not happen. If a report is made in keeping with the Constitution, send it to the Police Service Commission. You cannot even investigate. The police cannot even investigate a complaint made against an inspector and above. They have to report it to the Police Service Commission, and the Police Service Commission then has to authorize the investigation. So we started to streamline things. But they didn't like that. So that is what he said. He said that this list is sent. First of all, this is rubbish. No, the executive leadership team and ask any one of the officers. That is not the procedure. The procedure, as I've outlined, is the Senior Promotion Board, checked sounding order 22 of the Guyana Police Force. The Senior Police Board, Senior Promotion Board, and the composition is listed, right? So that is what he says. He said, for the promotion list under review, this procedure was followed, and he's talking about the promotion list, that this list that they put together on the 2nd of July last year. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I wanted Mr. Conway, he ain't getting out yet, to deal with that part too. They said, in compliance with that this is paragraph 12. In compliance with that standard procedure, the promotion list in 2020 compiled by the executive leadership team was sent to the Minister of Home Affairs for his notification. It goes on to say, while that list was still with the Minister of Home Affairs, the then Commissioner of Police Acting, Mr. Nigel Appy, sent to me, this is the Secretary, sent to me a list for promotion with an attachment letter dated 7th December 2020, which turned out to be a different list from the list prepared by the executive leadership team. You hear nonsense, you hear lies, you hear rubbish. And then it goes on to say, paragraph 14, rather than await the promotion list prepared by the executive leadership team, which as I indicated, is the standard operation procedure of the Police Service Commission on 22nd day of December 2020 and on the 31st day of December 2020. The Police Service Commission met and approved 6 senior officers to be promoted to the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police and 8 senior officers to be promoted to the rank of Senior Superintendent of Police from the list received from the Commissioner of Police without any input from the executive leadership team. That's what this man straight on affidavit to say. That is what Jai Singh, the Secretary of the Police Service Commission, and he knows it is lie. He knows that is not the procedure. Ask any former member of the Police Service Commission, ask any senior member of the Ghana Police Force, they're going to tell you. Then he goes on to say, here, this is what he goes on to say in paragraph 15. None of the officers purportedly promoted were interviewed nor engaged by the Police Service Commission before it arrived at the purported decision to promote them. I want to ask Jai Singh and the chairman Farley this question. The list that was released on the 2nd of July, were any one of those persons interviewed? Farley, the chairman of he's a bishop, I understand. He's a bishop, another bishop. He said on the 1st of July 2022, this last year, he told reporters on the sidelines of the police anniversary church service, when they asked him about promotion, he said that they weren't ready yet to consider promotions because they're looking at issues and all that. It's there on record. It's there. He said that. And on the very next day, the 2nd of July, promotions were released. On the 2nd, on the 1st, he's saying that the Service Commission didn't get to that stage yet, but on the 2nd. So tell me what interviews he did. What type of, and I'm going to read the next part. What interviews were done to promote those persons on the last occasion there? Tell me that. Tell the public that. Then he goes on to say, I'm also aware that the names of 2 senior superintendents which were not on the list sent by the Commissioner of Police were added by Paul Slow for submissions to the Commission as officers to be considered for promotion. In all my years as Secretary of the Commission, I have never seen such a step being taken, as the Chairman and members of the Police Service Commission would always act on the recommendation of the Commissioner of Police, whom himself had a reviewing team of senior police officers to screen suitable candidates for promotion. And then Selvin telling me about magnanimity, and when these people swear to all these lies on the affidavit and try to pull your character down, I can deal with them. I ain't done. I tell you already, no done as you like. No done as you like. But this is rubbish what this man saying here. At no stage, ask Conway or anybody, at no stage did Paul Slow include people on the list. Well, the process was a standard process. When they make recommendations and they recommended that people should be superseded, they have to give justification. And most times, they would write to say that this person should not be promoted, is not ready, or some fancy word like that. They should not be considered at this time. And we ask the question, why? A man is senior. Check his file. He has nothing adverse in his file. Tell us. He might be able to justify it. But just don't say that he should not be considered this time. And therefore, there are lots of persons who were shortlisted who they did not recommend. And they had no justification for not recommending them. They had no disciplinary matter pending. In some cases, they passed the appropriate qualifying examination. And the Service Commission made a decision. Not Paul Slow. Ask any one of the other members. And this man coming here to lie in an affidavit. He goes on to say, well, he talks here about this, the result of the, well, he said on December the 30th, 2020, oh, Mr. Conway is here now.
Yeah, all right.
Welcome. Man, I've been talking and waiting for you to help me out here, man. I hope, did you hear all the things I've said?
I've been hearing you all the time. Perhaps Pegasus working, man,
All
but
right,
they couldn't delay us.
I've been dealing with the I've been dealing with the affidavit by the Secretary of the Police
Yeah,
Service Commission, Mr. Jaigoben Jai Singh, with all his
yeah.
lies that he told. Did you ever hear that executive leadership team is the one who got to send this thing to the minister and all of that? Tell me what your views about this thing, man.
No. The thing is, and then the thing is that the commissioner's got to deal with the police service commission. The minister don't get no play in that. In terms of appointment, removal, and discipline matters, it is a police service commission, Article 212(1), and nobody else, no minister can come in the place. The commissioner will only send recommendations to us. And the executive leadership team, they're the creature of the commissioner. The commissioner have to agree with them. It's the commissioner responsibility, Paul, to send to the police service commission, and nothing mustn't go to the minister. Who the hell is the minister?
Stick up in CC. They talk about the executive leadership team, but standing order 22 give the authority to the senior promotion board and no executive leadership team.
That is it too. But whenever you're done, it is the commissioner. Is the commission? He doesn't have to agree with them. Whatever the commissioner say, that is it.
And we don't have to agree with it. The commission doesn't have to agree with the commissioner either.
That's true. That's true.
And the commission has never agreed 100% with the recommendation sent. I gave the example of Courtney Ramsey a while ago, who was actually promoted. And when it went to the places, his name was removed and other names were inserted. So this thing what Jaigoben Jai Singh right here to say about executive leadership team, and he has never seen persons added into the list and all that. He tried to get a man put into the list. He approached Samatal told me to get a man added to the promotion.
And Paul, we have to sanitize the list. The list is worse than the voters list. Persons who won't pass the exam, they said pass. Person, that we have to go through that list piece by piece, Paul. And I want to correct you. They had total agreement in terms of promotion recommendation. The last promotion, just how it go, just said come back.
You're right, 100%.
Just said come back.
And you know,
1%.
In the same affidavit, I have it somewhere where the secretary is saying here, chapter 23 of the affidavit, chapter 23 says, on the 2nd of July 2022, the reconstituted Police Service Commission, after deliberations, presented an approved promotion list for appointments within the Guyana Police Force. That list was based on a list prepared, received, and sent to the Commissioner of Police, sent by the Commissioner of Police to the new Service Commission. As I said before, you know that there's a lie. No deliberation took place, none whatsoever.
The bishop said on the 1st of July that he was awaiting the recommendation from the Commissioner of Police. And on the 2nd of July, the morning 2nd, 250 something persons were promoted. They had deliberation through the night. Did they check any file? I remember the commissioner asked, well, let me check we didn't check no files. And he was told, hey, we were told that whatever the police want, we must give them because we don't know the police. And the thing is, our service commission, the members, we knew all the policemen there, especially the senior people. We knew them, but although we knew them, we still got to go through the files to check to verify because they give us a whole lot of nonsense poppycock.
Well, yeah, a lot of things. So the whole thing is that this thing with the secretary, I don't know how these people sleep in the night, you know. I don't know how they sleep in the night. Somebody say maybe they're drinking us other thing for knock themselves out to sleep in the night, to tell all of these lies.
It's perjury.
Well, that's why if you all said it earlier, when he spoke about the lies in an affidavit told by the Prime Minister and now by this secretary, he said that I am a magnanimous person, maybe, and I don't believe that magnanimity exists any longer, and I will have to seek legal guidance because they are trying to tarnish my reputation, and therefore I will have to seek legal counseling as to the way forward. As I've said before, no done as you like. They came after me, and I will defend myself. They came after me. I'm going to put the facts out there. Let the public judge for themselves. All these lies that these people are telling. And let me tell you something about this horrid promotion list on the 2nd of June. Now, you know, this same matter that we have here with the suspension of the Police Service Commission was dragging through the courts. And on the 28th of June last year, we decided through the same Mr. Peters and Mr. Todd, Dexter Todd, and Dexter Smart, that we were going to go to court to get an injunction to prevent any promotions from being made until this matter that was determined today was finished. Right?
Yeah.
Now, when we went to court, there were some delays. And you went to court, I think the matter was filed on Friday. The Monday was CARICOM Day, a public holiday in Guyana. And it is clear, the evidence suggests that what happens when they order about the filing, because remember you file these things, you have to solve it on them, on the Attorney General. When it was solved on the Attorney General, they then decided to hustle and put together this list before the court could convene on the first working day, which would have been, I think, the 2nd of July 2022. That is how you get this list come true. So we talk about deliberations. They deliberate and put people who are out of the job on the list. That is the deliberation. They deliberated and put a man who at the time was charged and before the court. That is the type of deliberation they had. As you said, they must have deliberated during the course of the night.
Yeah, Paul, they promoted one woman twice.
Yeah,
and apart from that, Brutus, Carimbas, Stanley, Shifusel Bacchus, Chevron Jupiter, Premnerine, all of them had display matter spending and they were promoted. Every one, and those matters weren't complete. Every one of them had display matter spending.
And as I indicated to our viewers earlier, in the promotion return of 2020, the same Brutus signed a document to say that there were 13 members of the force. I have the names of those 13 members who should not be promoted because they had pending disciplinary matters. That is what transpired. And as I've said, you know, they sue me twice. One matter get dismissed, one still pending. I know the one coming. The one is over here now. I waiting because, as I said, I get the facts. I get the facts to present. So if they want to come and to say that they're being defamed, if you're defamed by the truth, that is your business. Then they're going to come to say that they're emotionally disturbed. They're going to want to invoke the Cybercrime Act. Already and awaiting. Already and awaiting. Yeah, Mr. Conway, go ahead. Go on, please.
Yeah, and let me just backtrack a bit in terms of the bogus charge that we got. You may recall Brutus and others filed the action, and they didn't do it of their own volition. They had intellectual authors, because words sipped out that the police association that makes nomination to the parliament for persons to be appointed as members of the Police Service Commission, the one that was operating then, because of the excellent work we were doing, the fairness that we were doing, they decided that they're going to give us a second term. They're going to recommend us for a second term. And word spill out. And there are some intellectual authors who are attorneys at law and members of the PPP. And they decided, hey, find a bogus charge and Guy Paul and Guy Conway, and then move for them to be removed. Remember what they did? They got the admin man to hold an election for the police association, hold an election, and appointed Premnerine and as chairman and others. And the election, thousands of police ranks were disenfranchised. They didn't have the opportunity to select persons to represent them on the executive body of the police association. So they select their own people. Brutus whole election and said Premnerine was elected as chairman. Happy got to hear about it. And Happy decided to get MTH to hold another election on the same day, and that election, um, certain persons, the same persons who were the chairman, Ford and others, were elected. Subsequently, Happy vitiated both elections, and he was called before certain people, politicians, and put over the fire. And he vitiated both elections again, and he said because of mature thinking and advice, and he said the one that elected Premnerine was a legal one. Now, going further, they got Premnerine, and the reports we got, the allegations we got, is that he was given certain names of persons, certain who the politician wanted to be members of the Police Service Commission. And they send those names to members of the to the parliament, which subsequently sent them to the president. And so we have those persons who were installed as illegally as members of the Police Service Commission, led by a bishop. So the whole thing, they had intellectual authors, was to get rid of Pascal and Conway, give them bogus charge, and at the same time install their own members of the Police Service Commission who would make nominations, who were given names to put up to go to the parliament for them to become members of the Service Commission. That part a lot of people don't know about.
Well, let me tell them further. You know, when you're playing cards, you're playing troop trial, you just got to get some ace up your sleeve. I get ace up my sleeve in respect to that. So let it come and dispute what you have just said. I get the ace up my sleeve in respect to that statement that you made about the appointment and so on.
And let me add too. And apart from that, all the members of the executive were promoted. They were rewarded with promotion. One man moved from inspector to superintendent. He superseded 280 something persons. Perhaps we should send him to the Olympics because he could broad jump, he could high jump, and he could do triple jump. He should go to Olympics. We're going to win a gold medal there. But where is he now? Where is he now? In a division running crime, which was normally be done by a sergeant, and he's a superintendent.
Well, lazy level, you know, and the same man, the man joined the force. I think he get. I was to check to see how much service he has, but the man got 3 promotions. He get promoted to corporal, from corporal to inspector, from inspector to superintendent, unprecedented in the history of the Ghana Police Force. 3 promotions, and he is a superintendent of police. And I'm going to talk about that perhaps Wednesday when we do our next program, because I got something to talk about that same issue, and the issue in relation to the release by the U.S. State Department. But CC, we're running, you know, we would normally go about 2 hours. I drag on, so I'm glad you finally get over the gremlins. And as I've said before, we have Wednesday, and if needs be, maybe we'll do even another special to address this issue. So I am glad that you finally made it. And again, congratulations to all of us on the ruling in the court today. I know it's going to hit social media. I know tomorrow is going to be, a matter of fact, I saw an article already from Stabrook News about this matter. This is a significant ruling. This is a ruling which shows that we still have people in the judiciary who are willing to follow the law. You know, many times, and let me say this. I had scheduled this live even before the decision was handed down. Not only because I was confident that the decision will go in our favor, but regardless of what it was, I wanted to come and to tell people what I have told them this afternoon to bring this thing out. And as people are asking, what happened to all the trenches that has normally come out? They can't think. The idea, as I told you all, how to deal with cockroaches. They come out, cockroaches are nocturnal. Once you turn on the light, they can scamper. So you got to mash some, you got to spray some, and get rid of them. And that is what's happening. What are they going to come to say? They're going to attack the judge? The judge laid out his ruling in a very clear manner. Clear, the Constitution, we have always said, CC, that the Constitution, Article 225 in particular, sets out the process for suspension or removal. And we had always said, we always knew that it wasn't followed. And we were always confident that if the judge followed the Constitution, there was only one decision that could have been handed down. And if they decide to go to the appeal court, they decide to go to the CCJ, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The Constitution had changed. The action of the president was done on the 16th, and it is unlawful, unconstitutional, null and void. As Selwyn said earlier, we'll have to discuss the consequential actions, because I know we have a lot of anxious police ranks, 42 of them, I checked the record, who were promoted in 2021 rather, on the 28th of June 2021. They have not been promoted in the last promotion, this rush promotion on the 2nd of July. In some cases, let me add, some cases, some were in fact promoted, but they were promoted to ranks other than that, what they were promoted to in our case. In other words, some people were promoted by us to superintendent, and in the last promotion, they promote them to deputy superintendent. So we will have to discuss with the lawyer once we get the ruling, the written ruling from the judge. He says a lot of writing, 50-something pages. He promised it. Once we get it and we go through it, we will decide on the way forward. This affidavit that Jai Singh swore to and Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, swore to with all the lies, we have to decide, because it's perjury. It's perjury. I look at the definition, and that is perjury. And therefore, we have got to decide how we're going to go forward. We know that when you bring private criminal charges against people, certain people, the DPP intervenes and DPP discontinues this matter. But let's say, if we decide to go that route, we aren't saying that we go that route, but if we decide to go that route, let them intervene and discontinue it. Because remember, they can do that, but the international community is watching, as we have seen with the recent report. They can decide not to investigate. They can decide to sweep things under the carpet. The international community is watching, and they will comment at the appropriate time. CC, your final thoughts.
Yeah, and let me take the opportunity to congratulate you and the other members also. And also Selwyn and his team, the two Dexters. Excellent work, excellent work. I think you made a major decision when you engaged Selwyn. And I'm proud of him. And also you too. You were steadfast. You weren't letting up in anything. You were there in the forefront, although we were in the background. You were there. And I'm happy that at least we found a judge with balls who could have stand up to the politician. A man, an honorable man who could, go according to the Constitution. And I must make the point that the Constitution is the supreme law. The president is a creature of the Constitution. He has to bow down to the Constitution, and as Commissioner Larry says, he got to say, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. He can't breach the Constitution. He got to obey. I remember with Desmond Height and Abby Norton, when Desmond Height relieved Abby Norton of his position as General Secretary, and Height said Norton wasn't putting the short in his pants, and the General Secretary is a creature of the leader. The president is a creature of the Constitution of Guyana, and we can't allow him to flagrantly violate the Constitution. And if it goes to the apex court, we'll have the same decision. I'm confident about that. And we have been vindicated at this stage. Even our friends and our relatives and our families, they know that we were unconstitutionally, illegally suspended. And as you mentioned, they couldn't wait another 2 months. They couldn't wait. They were in a hurry. And when you're in a hurry, you look a whole set of things there. So congratulations to all of us. Special thanks to our Tonys, Selwyn and the two Dexters, and the other guy that doing the research,
Toby,
and others.
Toby King.
Toby, I think that we will not let up. They're trying with me. I think they're using Pegasus and trying with me, but there's always a way out. They might only delay me. I will be on. I will find a way, to be on, Paul.
Thank you, CC. Thank you. If at any stage before we end here now, you praise me again, I will believe you're angling for me to buy a drink. So don't.
I wouldn't drink because it's Lent, it's Ramadan, and the There's a Hindu one, I can't remember it all at the same
Yeah.
time.
All right,
No
sis.
rag, no
Yeah,
rag, something.
yeah, we gonna be in touch. We gonna be in touch, folks. There you have this live. The longest we have been 2 hours and 11 minutes or thereabout. But I know it was worth it, and I thank you. We had full house, man, full house overflowing. People are in the ceiling. People are watching, and I hope that you have gotten an understanding as to what transpired today and the whole lead up to this what I call is vindictive um, intervention by these people. And as I said to the lawyer, no done as you like. So we will have to discuss the way forward. You can't sit back and allow people to swear to affidavits and tell lies which are easily proven to be lies. So we can decide where we're going with that. So folks, until Wednesday, when we back to our regular program at 11 o'clock, we will see you then. For now, bye.